perfectly possible, and that's what we've been working for. Whether it's 2 states or 1 state, there can be democratic human rights for everybody in that small community. The trouble is that many of us suffer from a guilt complex, certainly at my age. My wife's great aunt was picked up in a Berlin suburb in 1942, put in a carriage, a railway carriage, taken 5 days and 5 nights without water or food when he thought, and then bundled into a gas chamber. That memory is something that inspires people in the wrong direction. We have all had terrible sufferings in history, all of us, but we have actually to overcome that and start to live like human beings together. I believe it's perfectly possible, and I think there are many, many, many Jewish people, Jews for Justice for One, many Jewish people who know this perfectly well. To be a Jew is not to be a Zionist. That's a different qualification. It's not to be a Zionist. Let us work together for peace for all the communities in Palestine living in justice in this small planet that God's given us. Thank you very much.
Well said.
Thank you, Bruce. And it's great that you're still coming down and supporting us and supporting the great causes, along with our next speaker, who again I've mentioned and seen on 1 or 2 platforms in the past, Jenny Tong.
I am sick of hearing about new settlements and settlement expansion. I am sick of seeing bulldozers bulldoze houses at a few minutes' notice and people being made homeless. I am sick of little children being bullied and battered and sometimes shot. I'm sick of children being put in Israeli prisons without proper representation. I am sick to death of the way the Israeli government behaves. It is not a Jewish government. It is nothing like the way Jewish people behave. It is the Israeli government. It's monstrous, it's Zionist, and it's time it came to an end. So I don't want Theresa May to have any more talks with Netanyahu or anyone else. I don't want the British government to say anymore, oh, settlements are illegal, we don't approve of them. Or we have, as they do to me, we have made representations to the Israeli government. I am sick of these responses. What we need, Theresa May, is action. And that means sanctions against Israel. Start with sanctions against goods from the settlements. If the settlements are illegal according to our government, then the goods they produce and export are also illegal, and we should have nothing to do with them in this country. So please don't ever give up. We shall win in the end. Palestine will be free one day. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Louder than that. Come on, free, free! Make some noise! Free, free! Free, free!
Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free
Palestine!
Free, free
Palestine!
Free, free
Palestine!
Free, free
Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Okay, thank you, Jenny. We're going to have intermission of chanting as we go to make sure we drown them out and make sure they hear the message over there. But Jenny was talking about settlements, and at the moment you can see that Israel has no intention of complying with international law and the UN Security Council. If you go there, they're building Palestine out of existence. There's a whole infrastructure of roads, houses and water and so on that is being built to make sure there can be no peaceful settlement. And the very least thing that May should be saying to Netanyahu is no more settlements, no more colonisation, and an end to breaches of international law. If you break international law, there ought to be a price. Our next speaker coming on now is Glyn Secker from Jews for Justice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very fitting that I should be speaking now against the noise of the Zionists over there. I recently reviewed a new book, State of Terror, How Terrorism Created Modern Israel, by a very brave author, Tom Suarez. It's a historic, horrific and shocking story meticulously referenced. The founders of the State of Israel, in their messianic vision of a greater Israel, barrel-bombed the Palestinians, committed multiple assassinations, poisoned wells and trained child soldiers. The terrorist gangs, the Irgun and the Stern, work hand in hand with the Palmach and the Pum, their counterparts in the Haganah, the inseparate IDF. They meticulously planned in advance and committed the massacre of Deir Yassin and 19 other villages to create the Nakba of 900,000 Palestinian refugees. A deep racism justified these actions. Their leaders, Ben-Gurion, Menachem Begin, Yitzhak Shamir, became the first prime ministers of Israel. Netanyahu and his ministers have taken on their mantle. Ayelet Shaked, his justice minister, during the Israel invasion bombardment of Gaza in 2014, which killed over 2,000, maimed tens of thousands, and left the territory in ruins, posted on her Facebook, the entire Palestinian people is the enemy. Its women, its cities, its elderly, its villages, its property, its infrastructure. Avigdor Lieberman, his defense minister, said of the Israeli Arab members of the parliament, the fate of the collaborators in the Knesset will be identical to that of those who collaborated with the Nazis. They were executed after the Nuremberg trials at the end of the war. His deputy foreign minister, Tipsi Hotaveli, pronounced, "The land is ours. All of it is ours. We expect as a matter of principle the international community to recognize Israel's right to build homes for Jews in the homeland everywhere." Under the illegal military occupation, Israel continues to imprison 500 to 700 Palestinian children each year, inflicting abuse and not infrequently torture. It starves the population of water, has demolished 48,000 homes and gives free rein to horrific attacks by settlers. An IDF general described the siege of Gaza as putting Gazans on a diet. Another stated that no one in Gaza dies of old age. Under Netanyahu's watch, Gaza will, according to the United Nations, be uninhabitable by 2020. This is a religious and relentless act of genocide. If it comes to pass, I will be asking the question, will it be commemorated on Holocaust Memorial Day? Netanyahu declared the two-state solution will never happen under his watch. So we need to speak the truth to power. Under Netanyahu, Israel does not qualify as a democracy. In fact, for 50 years, millions of Palestinians, subject to its military control, do not have the vote in the government which controls them. Since Trump, Netanyahu has announced another 2,500 illegal settlements.
We can all ask ourselves one question. Why does the word peace not appear anywhere in the...
He has accelerated the demolition of Palestinian homes in East Jerusalem to be replaced by 550 Jewish units and plans to move the seat of government there. Last month he demolished the Bedouin village of Al-Hiran to build a town, a Jewish town, right on top of its ruins. He is ethnically cleansing 40,000 Bedouin from their villages in the Negev. His Islamophobia resonates with Trump's. He, like his predecessors, is bent on a greater Eretz Israel. It was Israel which built the electric fences in apartheid South Africa. Today, an Israeli corporation, Magal Security Systems, which built the Israeli wall, is being contracted by Trump to build the Mexican wall. One reason May will give Netanyahu tea in the building opposite is because Israel is a huge arms market and arms trader. Before the last attack on Gaza, the UK sold it a massive £7.9 billion of military equipment. When she shakes his hand, she will find it covered in blood. Free speech on Israel and Jews for justice for Palestinians will not be cowed by false accusations of anti-Semitism from criticising Israel's gross abuses of human rights. Nor should you, nor should anyone. At the anti-Trump demo on Saturday, a speaker representing the Muslim community had the courage to call out the Islamic countries which have supported Trump. And we, the Jewish community, rise to that courage to call out the shameful act of the leaders of the Jewish community, the Board of Deputies of British Jews, who congratulated Trump on the moment of his election. They do not speak for us. They do not speak for the thousands of Jews in this country and hundreds of thousands in the US and around the world. Never will we be associated with such racism and Islamophobia and misogyny and homophobia and prejudice. It's a dangerous time indeed when Jewish community leaders fail to recognise the emergence of the neo-fascist right. And still more dangerous and deeply shameful when they endorse and befriend them. A people who oppress another can never themselves be free.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Jews for Justice for Palestinians byline is the two people, one future. The Palestinians have an absolute right to freedom and dignity. And as Nelson Mandela stated, their freedom is our freedom. Netanyahu, I would never take the land of a Palestinian. For me, there is no such thing as a Jewish right of return. I would never make Aliyah to your Israel. You do not speak for me. You do not speak for us. You do not represent hundreds of thousands of Jews around the world who instead identify with the victims of your policies and the victims of the policies of your newfound bedfellow Trump. So hear this loud and hear this clear, Netanyahu. We resound from your policies and your values. We will never give up the fight for justice for the Palestinians. Never!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
They talk of peace, but there can never be peace while there's an occupation, a war and a siege. Until they get out of Palestine, till there is a free Palestine, their talk of peace is hypocrisy. Thank you, Glyn, for that speech. It's great to have you on our platform, and never underestimate the pressure that Jews come under from Israel when they speak up against Israel. Thank you very much for being here today, Glyn. And our next speaker is Bernard Regan, who has been on the Energy Executive, on the PSC Executive. He's writing a book on Balfour, and he's here to tell you about what we're doing to take forward the struggle on Balfour and to make sure that the real story of Israel and what it's done over the years is brought to light. Bernard.
It's right that we're here today to protest against Netanyahu's visit. The claim by our visitors over here that they want peace is a complete farce and an irony and a tragedy. The truth of the matter is that Netanyahu is a warmonger. He's been waging war against the Palestinian people for decades. The situation with Operation Cast Lead, with Operation Protective Edge, was that hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were killed, were starved, were punished.